Hey folks, I'm Gary Carlin, owner of Monsters Creek Outdoors. I was wanting to take just a few minutes here, tell a little story about a friend of mine slash a great hunting partner for so many years, Mr. Dale O'Gwen. Today's his birthday. He died last couple of days of December of 2021, and we'd made a lot of memories together, and the biggest part of them was involving hunting or out in the outdoors. So I was going to tell a little story here on the type of work that he was last involved with, which is the foundry business. He done bronze casting, and he used some molds and patterns and a special type of sand to withstand extreme temperatures to create the products that he did. So I'm going to tell a little story here and kind of show the layout of how it worked. It was a real interesting process. Well, a real interesting subject, the foundry business. I remember the name Anadel Lodge from many years ago. Mr. Dale O'Gwen, he was pretty widely known across the country for making custom bronze plaques, paperweights, and belt buckles. And he done lots and lots of business and dealt with a lot of people. So I'm gonna get started here on many years to look back on. This was a very memorable moment. Dale always loved being out in the turkey woods with me when he wasn't working in the foundry. The pot that the melted bronze was poured out of into the boxes was one of the most interesting parts. It was called a crucible. And I can't remember exactly now. I believe Dale told me that that melted bronze was somewhere seemed like from 2,500 to 3,000 degrees. It gets so hot you couldn't stand to look at it. This is a plate here that the patterns for the belt buckles was glued onto using clear silicone most of the time. And these plates would be pressed into a box using a special, I believe it was a Carolina sand that was made to withstand extreme high temperatures. This special sand normally has to be purchased through some type of a foundry supply business. This is Dale standing in front of his press, getting ready to put a plate with the patterns on it into this box you can see standing up here to press the impressions of those patterns into that special sand. He's blowing with an air nozzle here, as you can see, to make sure that every grain of unwanted sand or dust is out of that box. Now what he'll do at this point, he'll press those pattern designs into that sand, and then he'll pull that plate back out after the impressions is pressed in, and then he will assemble the box back together after he removes the patterns. And once he puts it back together, it will leave those cavities with those designs in them on the inside of what the belt buckles to say will look like after they're poured. Once he's finished packing that box and gets it where it looks like this, he leaves a hole in the top for the bronze to pour down in. The tennis ball that you see sitting in the top is placed there to keep any type of unwanted sand or trash falling down that hole where the melted bronze will enter during the pouring process. Most of the time, Dale would spend 2 or 3, 4 days packing maybe 15 to 20 of those boxes at a time. And he'd get everything ready to have what they call a big pour. And lots of times on the day when they, or evening when they was going to pour, he would invite some people to come over and watch. And it was pretty exciting, you know, to watch them pour. It was quite a process. The row of concrete blocks going around in the bottom of the photo here is the final spots where the packed boxes will sit while they're poured. They go all the way around in a circle around through there. And I believe these people watching here, he invited down from the sons of Confederate veterans. Matter of fact, I believe it probably was a batch of their buckles that he was pouring in this process. As far as the quantity of buckles, he'd pour 15 to 20 of those boxes at a time on one pour. And on average, there would usually be around 8 belt buckles per box. Dale's had some various people around the country to help him pour over the years. I've helped him pour, several different people has, but Bill Horner helped him biggest part of the time. He's the guy with the orange boggin on here. He was a fighter jet pilot in the service, flew I don't know how many missions, never got shot down. But what him and Dale's doing, right last thing right here, they're dipping what little bit of slag that there is right off of the top of that melted bronze and getting it really cleaned up real good before they pour it in there, because I mean it's got to be like water. But here we go. We're going to pour a couple of boxes here. I once got Dale to cast me some belt buckles for the Mosses Creek Wildlife Cause logo. That was my business name back in the early days until I changed it to Mosses Creek Outdoors and started covering lots of other subjects involving the outdoors. But this is how the belt buckles looks as soon as they're broke out of the sand. Usually, not always, but usually he liked to wait till the next day before he broke anything out of the sand, just to make sure that, you know, everything set up good and hard and everything, and make sure that all the detail remain where it should be. And right here is a whole bunch of unfinished buckles. This is how they look as soon as they come out of the sand and he cuts them apart. They're all hooked together as soon as he knocks them out of the boxes. But he has to clean those edges up, you know, by sanding and polishing and all kinds of different stuff. There's a lot of work involved. And here, he's sanding and cleaning the edges and getting off any burrs using a Blade Master sander. And then he would have to drill the holes in the back where the clasp or the hardware went on to be able to hook it to a belt. But man, I tell you, once he got them finished, they look like this. Literally unreal to look at them. He had so many different designs, so many different logos, company logos, logos involving the outdoors and hunting and sports, and you pretty much name it. There was literally thousands of different designs. His business was endless when it come to the war stuff. He done all kinds of plaques and grave markers such as this here. A lot of his work is on headstones in national cemeteries and national parks. He stayed really busy with that. And right here, yep, I got him to do me a large plaque. This plaque is almost 2 feet across, and I was proud to see it. It was kind of a surprise thing. He didn't let me know nothing about it till he almost had it finished. And he showed it to me and he said, "Well, what do you think?" And here, we're jumping to Mule Day, Columbia, Tennessee. Dale casted bronze belt buckles for them for many, many, many years. I believe he got order for about 500 or 600 buckles every year from them. He got so busy with them, I had to help him on several of the years, as far as the finishing process. And to just show a few more designs here. This is a buckle he poured on Nathan Bedford Forrest, Confederate States of America. The Sons of Confederate Veterans buckle. American Rifleman. Battle of Shiloh right near, 1862. National Wild Turkey Federation, 2000, NWTF. He done these several years. Battle of Davis Bridge, here local, 1862. Jack Daniel's Distillery up here in Lynchburg. He done a good many of them. Seems like this is one of the earlier ones that I remember when I first got to know Dale. Haven on the Hatchie, Pocahontas, Tennessee. Hatchie River is a river here local. It's good to fish in. It's known for big catfish, especially if you set out trot lines. Come and float it sometime if you never have. This was always an interesting buckle to me. The two fighting gobblers in front of the Confederate flag. And yep, even another subject. Jack Hinson's one-man war. Such an interesting story. He was a Civil War sniper. Tom C. McKinney wrote a book about Jack Hinson's one-man war. The book tells about back in the day how Hinson hid along the banks of the Tennessee River and shot these soldiers off of this riverboat. And he used a black powder, large caliber rifle that he had custom built to fit his needs for what he wanted to do. And he shot these soldiers at like 500 and 600 yards away. Now that's with a black powder rifle. The thing was, Hinson always hid so good. Nobody could ever tell where the shots was coming from. But so many men was dead at such long distances. Now here's Hinson's rifle. I got a chance to see it one time in person. Hinson filed a groove up on top of the barrel each time he had a confirmed kill. And I believe the grooves was in the high 30s as far as confirmed kills. He wouldn't file a groove in top of the barrel unless he actually, to say, could put his foot on them dead. But there was way more men killed with that gun. Hinson's rifle is owned today by Judge McFarland from Rutherford County, Tennessee. They had a book signing event for the Jack Hinson's one-man war book here local back several years ago, and Judge McFarland brought the rifle down to be showed. It was quite an exciting piece to look at. So like I say, if you ever get a chance to get a hold of the Jack Hinson book and read the story, it'll be worth your time. It's a very interesting read and a good piece of information. So appreciate you watching on this video about Anadel Lodge, custom bronze work, and a piece to do with our history here in the past. Until next time, I'm Garen Carlin, owner of Mosses Creek Outdoors, and we'll see you